You're listening to the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back. This is Oliver Thomas, OT, with the Good Morning Show. We filling it in for T-Dub, Tracy Washington. I got my co-host, Jacques Morial. And wow, we got a great guest in studio, the Executive Director of YES, the YMC Educational Services Project, Miss Shannan Cvitanovic. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here. Literacy, John.
Oh, it's a big challenge in New Orleans. Tell us about the challenge we face with literacy and how that affects people's ability to be economically self-sufficient and independent.
The bottom line is, if you don't have the basic reading and math skills to do a job correctly and efficiently and to your boss's satisfaction, you are not going to get the job. You are not going to keep the job. And we have lots of people in New Orleans who want to work. Most of the people who come to us, we have a free adult education program at the library downtown and in New Orleans East. They come to us because they say, I'm working right now, I want to move up, but I can't move up because I don't have the skill level. You know, we have one young lady who's with us right now who's working at a hotel. Her boss wants to move her toward management, but she's so intimidated because her writing skills are so poor. So she's with us so she can get the confidence that she needs, so she can write emails to staff, so she can write the memos she needs to do. But if she would move up into that management position, you talk about a transformation for her and her son. So if you don't have those basic skills, you are not moving up, and what that leads to is economic instability for families in New Orleans.
Do you find that people who have challenges with these skills often are unwilling or ashamed to admit it and get the training that they need to advance?
Absolutely. It is. Yeah, we have so many people who are ashamed to come forward and say that they lack these skills. We have had students come to us and say, I've been lying to my spouse all these years. My kids don't know. We had a 50-year-old father who said, I finally told my 30-year-old daughter that I cannot read. She just didn't know. So there is a lot of shame around that. But I have a lot of respect for our students who do get past that and come to us and realize that they need these classes for them to move on, not just at work, but to be able to do things with their kids. You know, it's a shame when your child is growing up and you can't help them with homework. And that's another reason why a lot of parents do get over that shame that you're talking about, because they see how critical it is that they help their kids with homework. You know, you don't want to be the parent who tells your child, sorry, I can't do your math homework with you. You know, you want better.
And I think, people need these basic skills in order to act in their own self-interest, in order to prevent people from taking advantage of them.
Our students have been taken advantage of so many times. I cannot imagine what it must be like to take your paycheck to the bank and to ask the teller to help you fill out all of your bills, which happens a lot. You know, you go to the check cashing place and you ask the lady, please help me fill out my bills and all of my business. Yeah, as an adult, I appreciate my independence, that I'm able to take care of that myself.
But I tell people, the people who come to you for the services, they're wonderful people. That's people who have seen what their problem is, and they want to address it. There's so many people out there that have a problem, they have an addiction, they have an issue that they're struggling with, and they don't seek the help that they need. But these folks are saying, I have a problem with literacy, and I want help.
Exactly.
That's heroes.
Oh, absolutely. I have such respect for my students because they're the ones who walk through the door. And that's what I tell them. I tell them all the time. We get phone calls every day, all day, people wanting to know about our program. But it's the ones who actually walk through the door that I'm proudest of. I appreciate everybody who calls and asks. I appreciate the parents who are concerned for their adult children and call on their behalf. But the ones I'm proudest of are the ones who walk in and say, I need this, I want this, tell me what I have to do to get this service.
Well, how do people connect with you? I mean, if somebody's listening right now and they believe that they don't have the reading and basic arithmetic skills to compete in this economy, how would they get in touch with you, and how does your program work?
Well, how it works is this. We register people 4 times a year. Our next registration is going to be the day after Labor Day. It's going to be on Tuesday, I think it's the 4th. What they can do is call us at 596-3842. Again, that's 596-3842. And call us to put their names on our list so we can welcome them to our registration the day after Labor Day, which is held at the New Orleans Public Library downtown at the main branch at 10 a.m. We accept as many people as we can fit. Unfortunately, the demand is much greater than the number of seats that we have. And we register people for 8 weeks. And this
Tuesday is the 3rd.
Thank you so much for correcting me. I appreciate it. We registered them for 8 weeks because the way we look at it is this. You can put up with anything for 8 weeks. Well, let's be honest. Adult education is difficult. You're going through some difficult material. You have to balance your family life, your job life with all of this. So it is a challenge. So all we do is ask, please commit for 8 weeks, come twice a week, and we can help you get the skills that you need. After the 8 weeks, if you've been coming faithfully and you've been really making an effort, and you feel you need another 8 weeks, we will definitely look to have you continue in the program. So all we ask is an 8-week commitment. Just come and see how it works for you. I really believe after 8 weeks, we will see improvement.
And what time of the day and how long are those classes twice a week?
We have classes from 10 to 1. And then in the afternoons from 2 to 5. So people come either Monday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday. And we also have a study hall on Friday. If you had to miss some classes, because we understand things happen, but you do need to get a certain number of hours in our program for us to keep you. We have study hall that's available, so you can get the extra help that you need.
Some years ago, I had a neighbor of mine, and he had trouble passing the driving test. And he had gone to take it the 3rd time. I said, man, you didn't pass it. I said, let me sit down with you. Let's go over this. He said, he was really ashamed. He said, man, I don't know how to read.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
It was an issue of economic self-survival for him. He needed to be able to drive. He ran a very small, light construction business, basically a handyman, and he needed to be able to drive
for his job.
For his job, to earn a living to support himself and his family.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what drives them to come to us, because they want to support their families. They want to support their kids as they're growing up, in terms of their education. And that's what moves them to come to us. We had a student who was a long-distance truck driver who could not read, and he had memorized the interstate system by the numbers and the exits. How he managed to do that, I do not know. But he did it because, again, this is a working man who wanted to support his family, and finally he came to us and said, it is too hard. I need to learn to read.
Alfred, John, talk to us.
Yeah, good morning. I want to just ask a little simple question. If I go through this program and learn how to read, like you were mentioning a truck driver who found things hard, but the fact is he was still earning a living. If I learn how to read, what else am I getting out of that?
Well, I think when you learn to read, that is giving you independence. Number one, no one can take advantage of you. You don't have to hand off your personal finance to be taken care of by somebody else. We had too many people come into our program after Katrina with letters from FEMA that they wanted us to read to them. And they were lucky that they walked into our program where we're actually reading things correctly and we're trying to give the best possible service. But it's very easy to be taken advantage of if you cannot read. For me, the other thing is, I think you set an example for your family when you put education first, when you say, this is something I'm struggling with, and I want to conquer this, I want to learn this. It is a very powerful message. When a father learns to read and shows his children that this is something that dad has made, he's made it a priority. We had a parent like that in our class. He had worked as a busboy for years, could not read. His boss, again, wanted him to move up, but he just couldn't do it, and finally said, I'm coming in, I'm going to learn to read. His young son, who was only about 13, would come in to be tutored along with him because he also had some reading issues. And it was a powerful message that dad was sending. Make no mistake about it. He was telling his son in no uncertain terms, education is critical. I am making this a priority, and you should too. So I think to answer your question, the importance is, number one, it gives you independence. Yes, you can function without reading, but the truth is, in the jobs that are coming to New Orleans, the days when, we had a lot of manual labor jobs, for example, on the riverfront, those days are gone. You have to be able to read. You have to be able to use a computer. So for us to keep up with where the economy is going, we have to learn to read. We have to have the math skills and the computer skills.
Thank you, Alfred.
All right.
And Shannon, are there any charges or tuition for your services?
Absolutely not. We try to make this as barrier-free as possible, because we do understand a lot of the students that are coming to us are unemployed. They are not, or they're working in very low-level jobs. So we don't want there to be a barrier, for them to come to us. However, I tell them, you pay with your feet. You pay by showing up when you say you're going to come.
Is there any assistance for people in terms of computers? We talk about technology and how important it is, but we know in urban corridors like this, there's so many families that don't have access to computers, can't afford the cheapest computer. Is there some help out there that can help families? Let me tell you what I always thought. Jock, I always thought every home buyer program, they ought to have online computer attached to that house when that family moves in.
Absolutely.
Well, definitely, because what we're seeing is the days when I was a kid, when to get a job you got on your bicycle and you drove and picked up every paper application to fill out, those are long gone. Yeah. Now every application is online, and we get plenty of students who come in who say, I was told I could have a job at the Winn-Dixie or whatever. They just said I need to go online and fill out the application. They don't know how to do it. So we do have computers as part of our curriculum. It is a challenge. We have a lot of students who are intimidated, particularly our seniors. They see this as the way things are going, but they're intimidated. But we do
talk about that for our seniors, man. Our seniors need to be technology savvy.
They do, absolutely. I mean, this is the way. I mean, we can't even say it's the wave of the future. This is now. This is now. If you want to communicate with your grandkids, the best way to communicate with them is on your cell phone or through email. And so we do try to incorporate computers into our classroom just so they can get that exposure. But again, to take advantage of the jobs that are coming to New Orleans, that we hope are coming down the pipeline, we have to have these computer skills. So any adult education program is going to have computers as a part of the curriculum. The other thing, keep in mind, we're located in the public library. We're very fortunate that the city of New Orleans allows us to have our programs take place in the library downtown and in New Orleans East. There are computers available for you to use at the library. If you need to practice, go to the library and do it there.
Great. Give the phone number again and how people can contact you. And
it's 596-3842, and what you do is just call us. Let us know if you're interested in registering for our program. We can put you on the list, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it. The way the program works is we test everybody when they come in to see where their math and reading level is. And what I always tell them is, honestly, we all have different skill levels when we come. It's like when you join a gym. Some people can run fast. Some of us are slower. That doesn't mean we can't all participate.
Can all get to the finish line.
Exactly. It's like playing basketball. I say some people are going to be faster and better than others. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy playing basketball. It just might take you a little longer to get where you need to be. That's why we test people to see where they are today.
Now let's talk about literacy. And a lot of the educational experts tie literacy or illiteracy to violence because of the frustration.
Absolutely.
Kids who act out aggressively.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the correlation between illiteracy and
69% of juvenile offenders are functionally illiterate.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't lie. Every time I see a juvenile offender come across NOLA.com, I always think, let me get my hands on this kid and see what his reading level is.
But let me tell you what's sad. Jock, never will forget when the sheriff had the continuing education program inside the prison in the juvenile facility. They functioned at a higher level than
the kids who were outside.
Than the kids who were out there. They were like the top 10% in the city.
Right.
So it's important for families to begin to say, hey, look, especially parents. The parents out there, if you're frustrated that you're not as literate as you need to be, you need to do this so that you can make sure you pass it on to that child. That child sees you continuing your education or improving your educational level.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the parents send such a clear message. We've had students who have told us, I didn't go to school because my mom didn't make me go to school. It wasn't important for her, so I just didn't bother. I always say to our staff, no matter how much we love our students and we encourage them, it will never make up for the fact that they have a parent at home who is telling them that they're stupid. You can love them all you want, but if they are not getting it at home, if the people they value the most in life do not support them, there's little we can do to overcome that. So it really does start at home, like you're saying. If the parents say, I love you, I value you, and your education is important to me, that goes a long way.
How is your program funded, and what can people do to help you reach more folks who need help improving their reading and their arithmetic skills?
Well, that's a good question because the need is so great in New Orleans, and we are only serving very few people. We serve 200 people a year with intensive, high-quality services. We are part of the YMCA of Greater New Orleans. We are a nonprofit, so we do raise our money through grants from private foundations, from donations from the public, from in-kind donations. For example, the City of New Orleans gives us our space at the library for free, which is a huge gift to us. If people want to help us, they can always donate through the YMCA of Greater New Orleans. We have a tab on our website, www.ymcaneworleans.org, but also little things like school supplies. I always feel like our students eat pencils. They go through them so fast. At this time of year when pencils are so cheap, when you're going to buy your school supplies, you can always pick up a couple extra packs, drop them off at the main library downtown, and say it's for the literacy program, and we can definitely use them.
Wow, that's great. And I think it's important that people know that they can help in so many different ways. And look, if you're fortunate enough that you have good reading skills and good math skills, share some of the good fortune that you have, because you probably are doing better off, you and your family, than somebody who doesn't. So when you go get the school supplies for your children and your grandchildren, buy a couple extra boxes of pencils and pens and drop them off at the public library.
That's right.
And tell them it's for the literacy program.
Exactly.
Before we go to the next break, what message do you want to get out? What do you want to encourage the public to do? And what are some of your recommendations, even if you don't join your program, to just try to improve your literacy skill? If you're still not confident enough to come out and do something publicly with others, what can people do at home?
Well, what they can do, number one, if you have books in the house and if there's a parent in the house who is reading, the kids are going to read, number one. So anything you can do to bring books into your home for your child, even if you cannot read them very well yourself, just have them there, have them available as your child's learning to read at school. They're there. Number two, take your child to the library. There are so many free programs, storytelling programs, history programs. We have the African American Resource Center at Maine that is always doing so much wonderful programming. Bring your kids there. That is free. But really what it does take, Oliver, at some point you have to say, I have got to learn how to do this. You have to come into a class.
We got Miss Betty on the line. Miss Betty Peaks, welcome to the show with Jock and Ms. Cvitanovic. Miss Betty, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Betty.
I'm willing to volunteer with that program, and I'm wondering if you're looking for volunteers, because I didn't hear you state that.
Well, volunteers we can definitely use. We have a few areas where we can use them. Number one, we need a lot of help with outreach. We need people to go to churches, to community groups, to distribute flyers and to talk about our programs. That's one way that we could definitely use help. Another way is that we do have our big fundraiser is a 5K race that we do in November called the Second Line for Literacy in City Park. We definitely need volunteers for that. We can also use people in our classroom who can assist people, just with the drills that they need to learn to read.
Yes, that's what I'm interested in helping
Exactly.
out.
Please feel free to call us. Again, it's 596-3842. And do let us know that you're available, and we can talk in more detail.
I left my name and my number already on your line, but I just wanted to know if you want to bring that out since I didn't hear it over the airway.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for reminding me, because without community volunteers, this cannot happen. The other thing is our volunteers are our advocates in the community to let our politicians know that this is critical. These are programs that need to be funded, and it's an important thing for the future of our city.
It's an important message, and one thing that people can do, they can share it inside of their communities and their networks with their church members. And I know that we have a lot of very energetic retired educators that listen to us. And
thank you, Ms. Betty.
They'd be great volunteers.
Thank you for accepting the call.
Thank you, Ms. Betty.
Oh, absolutely. The problem with illiteracy is if it's not your problem directly, you think it has nothing to do with you. The truth is illiteracy affects all of us.
Everything
just like you're
you.
saying with, juvenile offenders.
Absolutely.
If I want a safe New Orleans, I want an educated New Orleans.
Well, Shannan Cvitanovic from the YMCA's, the Educational Services Program, you are an angel of literacy. We appreciate what you do.
Well, I just want to give credit to my students who are the true heroes.
Absolutely.
We love the work that we do. I feel like this is my calling, and I know our teachers and staff and our volunteers feel the same, but it's our students who are the heroes.
Come back on the show and update us in the fall, because we'd like to know more about what you're doing.
So September 3rd, 10 a.m., that's when the kickoff registration
Absolutely,
is.
But please call to put your name on the list.
At the New Orleans Public
Yes,
Library.
indeed.
The number that you have to call is 504-596-3842.
That's it.
If you want to help out by spreading the word, if you want to volunteer to help in the classroom, if you want to volunteer to help with the fundraising event, call that number 504-596-3842. Let's help everybody get the skills they need to succeed and live a better life.
See y'all after the break. Last half hour, OT and JM, we're going to call that the Chop It Up half hour. We're going to chop it up and put it back to you. 260-9265. WB makes it what?
Okay.